Hey there, hi there, good morning. Susan Brennan here for Growth and Grace. And this morning, we're going to be talking about that obnoxious little thing called pride and how to swallow it. Because sometimes we need to. And it's not the most pleasant, but I really think that it's an important thing to learn. I got to kind of figure out what this, I don't know what that is. Who else has those obnoxious little sideburns? I would love to speak to it because it's a recent thing that I've just gone through again, because this is not the first time that I've ever gone through it. And good morning, Becky. I see you. Hi, I love you just to pieces. I was going to say I love you to tons, but I love you to pieces and I love you tons. So there. Mwah. I recently had an experience in the last couple weeks that rocked me pretty good, pretty intensely to my core. And I really wasn't going to share it because it's a pretty personal thing. And it's not something that I've made a decision on. And it's not something that's complete yet. So I'm right in the middle of the messy process. And I thought to myself, you know what? I bet I'm not alone here. And I would love to share what I'm up to because I have a suspicion that someone, if not in the exact same scenario, is going through something where they may need to swallow a pride pill, or they may have just been really rocked in something that's pretty core to them. And it might help for them just to know that someone else is going through something too. So they're not alone. So we're not alone. So if you're in this, you've got someone else in this with you. So all that said, here's the story. Here's what's up. As many of you know, and for those of you who don't know, you're about to find out that for as long as I can remember, I have not wanted kids. I have nothing against kids. I love kids. I'm great with kids. I just never wanted that. Like I've never had that, like, oh, babies, or oh, kids, or oh, someday when I'm a mom, or I just can't wait to have kids someday. Like I just never had that. And it's always interesting to let people know that. I've been public about that, so that's not a shock. But it's always interesting to see people's reactions because that's so not the average thing, especially a woman, you know, approaching mid-30s. Like typically the stereotype is that the clock is ticking and, you know, you got this burning desire and baby fever and all this stuff. So it's always been admittedly a bit of a pain point for me because it's never fun to share something that you're really convicted in, that you feel very strongly about, and have everyone question it. Like, really? Interesting. Wow, that's so interesting. Every time. And so it has you feel a little bit like, really? Can no one, like no one else has ever experienced this, no one else feels this way. Like you get that isolation mode going, at least for me. That was my approach of, have people really not learned how to respond to this when someone shares with them something that's not average? Like all of us have things about us that are not average or normal or stereotypical. And it's so funny to me that people still, like, honestly, with almost comical shock, what? Really? Oh my gosh, why? And I never had like what appeared to be a satisfactory answer to that because I've always been open about it and just, I don't want kids. And I feel like that's a big enough thing that you don't just kind of talk yourself into. Like, well, I don't want them, but I'll try it out and see. Because you don't undo it. And I don't want to just try it out and see. They're kids, like they're humans. You don't just like give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, you just take it back. It's not a t-shirt. Okay? So I felt very strongly that I didn't want kids. And in the last couple of weeks, I've had some pretty radical things shift in that arena. And while, as I mentioned, like I'm still not at the spot where I've decided one way or the other, it's been a really interesting couple weeks to have something that you've been so solid on to now be really open to that looking different than you had been thinking it was going to look for all these, decades, really. And so what's been interesting is now sharing that with people. There's a handful of people that I don't know, I'm annoyed with my hair right now. Sorry. Changing subjects for a minute. There's a handful of people that I've shared this with and kind of, had like more intimate, deeper conversations around it to really dive in there and see like what's going on, what had me think that. And I'm looking back at my childhood going, I was raised in a happy, healthy home, like no childhood traumas. Like I haven't had any really horrific or traumatic or hard, painful experiences around kids. So it's not that I'm like, oh, kid, yeah, no, I've had one bad experience. I don't want to ever broach that subject again. So again, coming back to like never having that satisfactory answer. And what I'm inviting you all to do in joining me in this, as again, we're in the middle of the messy process of figuring out like, wow, maybe that's shifted. Maybe that core thing that I really thought I knew about myself, maybe that's not like the deepest truth. And it's an interesting one. So what I'm inviting you to do is to look at areas of your life where you really feel like this is where I'm at. And then see if everybody is, when you tell them, or if you don't feel like you have a response that's actually really answering their ponderment word, their questioning, that's a word. I invite you simply to look at it. It doesn't mean you need to change your mind. It doesn't mean that that's not your deepest truth. It's just been a really interesting exercise for me these last couple weeks to actually go there and say, gosh, I wonder, like it's honestly something I've never like genuinely considered, because I just felt peace for so long. I just knew I didn't want kids. And I was fine with that. And I'm still fine with that. And it's interesting to be considering other options as well. So I just want to invite you to look at where you're at and what things are coming up for you as you watch this. Perhaps for you it is the same thing of kids or no kids. Maybe for you it's like, do I want to be married or not? Do I want to start my business or not? Do I want to shut my business down or not? There's so many different arenas and avenues that this could be applied to. And for me, that's the one that I'm currently in the midst of. So it's an interesting hit to ego and pride when you shift something core like that. And I'm ever, ever so grateful for people in my life. And this is, again, a consistent theme you'll hear of finding the people that you can trust to have these like wobbly feeling conversations with, because it's a really intimate thing to talk about, that kind of big life decision, and perhaps taking a 180 in how you feel about it. So again, I would recommend that you have conversations with intimate, close people first before going public with something, because they can remind you that changing your mind is not like the end of the world. And it's not, whether I decide to have kids or not doesn't change like my worth. And it's so easy sometimes to wrap our worth up in our decisions. And ultimately, that's not where our worth comes from. So if you're in the middle of a life-rocking core decision right now, something that would shift your foundation, that's okay. Like, know that it's okay. Know that we get to explore those things. For me, prayer has been incredibly supportive in this, because you can imagine when the rug feels like it's ripped out from under you on something so massive, it can feel really unstable. And it can feel really like, ooh, can I just kind of hit the pause button and curl up in bed for a while and like think? But that's not how it works. You got to keep going. You got to keep taking actions. And for me, prayer has been an incredible way to bring peace in and to just seek counsel. And I don't have a decision yet. And I don't know what that looks like. And it's freaking scary to say that out loud because it's such a big thing. And I want to lead by example, and I want to be open and honest with where I'm at, because I know for me, selfishly, I've gotten some of my biggest nuggets of wisdom and some of my biggest growth opportunities because of people who have stepped before me, because of them sharing their story, because of them being vulnerable. And I feel like it is my responsibility to be able to share that with others as well. And just full transparency, there are things that I don't share publicly, and there are things that I'm not at a spot where I'm willing to go there publicly yet because it's still too messy, or maybe it brings up too many emotions for me to be able to articulate it in a helpful way. And this is one of those things that feels really big for me to share, and I really feel like someone's going to get that. Like just relax into knowing that it's okay to learn as we grow. It's encouraged. Life is a whole journey of figuring things out and discovering who we are and really claiming who we were created to be. And it's really, really, really messy sometimes. So we can look put together on the outside, and thankfully this thing gets me up and at 'em early in the morning to get prepped for my day, but there's still stuff going on for all of us. So right now, this is a big thing, and my upcoming business launch is not a business launch, but a launch in my business. I already have my business. Those are like two big things coming up in my life right now that are taking, I'm expending a lot of energy towards them. And I'm okay with that. And I'm thankful to have a support system in place with people who I can trust, who I can get really messy with and know that it's not going to change how they perceive me. It's not going to change our friendship. It's only going to help us grow stronger. And it's hopefully encouraging some of you who are, maybe going through this same decision. Amy, I'm just noticing your comment. And hi, also, by the way, Debbie, I see that you're on. And Chris, good morning. Oh my gosh, my love to you and Jacqueline. Just know that if you're going through a life-altering decision or a big shift, or you feel like the rug's just been ripped out from under you and you're kind of like, what am I doing now? Like, what does this look like? And what does this change? And oh my gosh, if you're like me, you kind of spin a little bit all the way into the future, like, oh, what is this going to look like 20 years down the road? And we don't need to know that right now, because 20 years down the road, I'm going to have 20 more years of experience than I have right now to be able to handle it. So current Susan isn't in 20 years in the future, because she's here in the present and she's getting prepared for that, whatever that looks like. So I'm letting current Susan kind of like explore different, maybe I do want kids. I'm not sure, but I'm letting her explore it. So it's been a really cool, very scary, but really cool experience to open up to that possibility that I hadn't really thought of being open to before. So whatever this is bringing up for you, whatever you're feeling like, oh, wow, yeah, that's kind of me in this scenario. Like, let yourself explore that, seek counsel. Definitely, I highly recommend prayer. It's been incredibly supportive for me. And allow yourself to wonder. Allow yourself to get curious. And to that point, I would also say, put yourself in situations where you can explore it. So for me, and this was wise counsel from a friend, she suggested, she's like, if you're really looking at this, like, allow yourself to spend time with kids with that like curiosity of, I wonder, like, do I want kids? I wonder if I do want kids. I've grown up around kids. Like, I've been mama's helper since I was 10 and, you know, babysitting for a couple decades. Like, I'm very confident with kids. I love kids. And the whole time leading up to this, like, last couple weeks, it's been knowing that I didn't want them. So, of course, as all of this is unfolding, as all of this is coming into my reality, and I'm considering it. Now, I had 2 baby showers this last weekend. I was babysitting last night. Like, I've had all these opportunities to be around moms and to be around babies and to really soak it in from a totally different perspective of actually considering, maybe babies. Who knew? So let yourself go there and intentionally put yourself in situations where you can explore what would that look like. Seek counsel from people who are doing it, specifically people you respect who are doing it. I'm not going to seek counsel on motherhood from really unhappy, unhealthy moms, because that's not going to give me the possibility of what like motherhood can look like. It's, of course, I'm not pretending it's rainbows and butterflies all the time. Of course, there are seasons where it's hard and it's exhausting, and yes, I get that. That's life, though. So I'm going to choose to get wisdom and counsel from women who are doing it really well and parents who are doing it really well, who even when it's tiring, exhausting, draining, like frustrating, they're still choosing joy and they're still pouring life into their children and they're still seeing the blessing that their kids are. So be conscious of who you're getting counsel from, because if you seek the other type of counsel of just, oh, it's so hard and it's rah, 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 and they're just going on and on and on, that's keeping yourself closed, because there's nothing appealing about that. There's nothing like that you're drawn into of, oh yeah, no, I've been looking for more misery. That's great. No. So be wise on who you seek counsel from, but put yourself in scenarios where you can explore it. So with that huge share, that I really was resisting sharing that, because that's a big thing for me and it's still going on. So it's hard to share things when you're in the middle of them, but know that there's always a safe place to share them. And once you seek counsel and you feel that groundedness coming back in, that's again where prayer comes in, counsel and peace, then continue sharing it, continue exploring, because it's not always going to be an instant like, oh, I've made my decision moment. So allow yourself to remain in the curiosity. It can be challenging, and for someone who likes to know the next steps, but that's life. We don't always get to know all the next steps. So let's enjoy exploring. Let's enjoy the curiosity of what could my life look like if I made a different decision than I've been making this whole time, and apply that to any scenario and enjoy it, because life is meant to be enjoyed. So until next week, I'm going to leave that right there, and we'll see you guys next Thursday, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. In the meantime, a little bonus announcement for you. I have a big launch coming on the 15th. Yikes, it's another big thing for me to share that date out loud, because that means I got to get all my ducks in a row and get everything tested out, make sure it's all working properly. But be on the lookout for that big drop coming on April 15th. I'll kind of be teasing here and there, but be on the lookout for that, because it's huge. It's a big passion project of mine. I'm so pumped about it, and I know it's going to make a difference for a lot of people. So on that note, dun dun dun, I'll see you guys next week. Have a great day.